Good morning, children. We'll continue with the tragedy of Julius Caesar. So you can take out your engaging English textbooks. We'll continue from page 156. Now here in this lesson, you have the two most famous speeches in English literature. The speech made by Brutus and that of Mark Antony. Of the two speeches, Mark Antony's speech is much more powerful. And we have already done the speech of Brutus. Brutus wanted to give reasons to the public, to the people, to the Romans, that they had to murder Caesar for the good of Rome. And he loved Rome more than he loved Caesar. So, even while he joined the conspiracy to murder Caesar, he was weeping for Caesar. But he had to kill him. Now for the Romans, the country is much more important than anything else, and they will sacrifice their lives for the country. So Brutus was persuaded by Cassius that Caesar should be killed for the welfare of the country. Then he asked the citizens, is there anyone in this assembly, in this crowd of people, who is so wicked that he will not love his country? End of page 156. If there is anybody in this assembly who is not a Roman, who does not want to be free, then only that person I have offended by murdering Caesar. If any speak, for him have I offended, I pause for a reply. None, Brutus, none. So nobody says that nobody is hurt, nobody is wounded because Caesar is killed. And the crowd is satisfied with the reasons which Brutus gives for killing Caesar. End of page 156. Then none have I offended. So I have not done it wrong to any Roman citizen by the murder of Caesar. I have done no more to Caesar than you shall do to Brutus. If Brutus were ambitious like Caesar, you would have all killed him and I would have accepted death. The question of his death is enrolled in the Capitol. So, the reason why he was killed, enrolled means recorded in the public place, in the Capitol. Capitol is the Senate house, it was the seat of power. In the place Caesar was assassinated here, Caesar was murdered here. Assassinated is another word for killed. His glory not extenuated. The glory which Caesar had acquired as a warrior, as a soldier, is not reduced. The noble deeds of Caesar will be honored. His glory not extenuated. The noble deeds which Caesar has done will be honored, wherein he was worthy, nor his offences enforced. So his offences, the wrong which he has done, offences means the wrong which Caesar has done will not be made larger, for which he suffered death. That was why he suffered death. Page 157. Enter Antony and others with Caesar's body. Now, notice Antony is bringing Caesar's body so that the Roman citizens could see how cruelly he was murdered. As this is Brutus speaking, here comes his body mourned by Mark Antony. Mark Antony is weeping for the death of Caesar, who, though he had no hand in his death, he did not have any part in the murder of Caesar, shall receive the benefit of his dying a place in the Commonwealth. Commonwealth is a republic. So, Caesar is killed. Brutus also will be given a very important place in the republic, in the governing of the country, shall receive the benefit of his dying. Benefit of whose dying? Caesar's dying. So Mark Antony also will benefit. He will be given an important place, even though he did not take part in the murder. As which of you shall not? All of you are important. With this I depart. I am leaving. That as I slew my best lover for the good of Rome, my best friend, my trusted friend, my close friend for the welfare of Rome, I have the same dagger for myself, when it shall please my country to need my death. If you think Brutus should die for the welfare of the country, any Roman citizen can take the same dagger with which I kill Caesar, and they can kill me with it. So all the citizens support Brutus. Live Brutus, live, live. They are very happy with what Brutus has said. First citizen, bring him with triumph unto his Rome, unto his house. Let us carry him as a very successful person in victory. He says, let us carry him as if he has won a big victory to his house. Second citizen, give him a statue with his ancestors. Let us honor Brutus by making him a statue of him. Third citizen, let him be Caesar. Now there you notice that the citizens have not actually understood the reason why Caesar had to be murdered. Because they are saying, let Brutus be another Caesar. Let Brutus rule like Caesar. Brutus, my countryman. Second citizen, peace, silence, Brutus speaks. First citizen, peace, hope. Brutus, good countrymen, let me depart alone. Let me go alone. All of you stay and listen to what Antony has to say. And for my sake, stay here with Antony. I am requesting you to remain and listen to the speech of Mark Antony. Do grace to Caesar's corpse. Honor, pay honor, respect Caesar. Caesar's body, honor his body, and grace his speech. Also honor the speech of Mark Antony, tending to Caesar's glories, which he is going to refer to. Mark Antony is going to refer to all the noble deeds of Caesar. So listen to his speech, which Mark Antony, by our permission, is allowed to make. We are giving permission to Mark Antony to speak to the Roman public. I do entreat you, I beg you, not a man depart, not one of you should go, save I alone. I alone will go from here till Antony has spoke. So all of you remain and hear Mark Antony's speech. Except Brutus, only Brutus will go. First citizen, stay home and let us hear Mark Antony. Third citizen, let him go into the public chair. Let him go to the platform, the pulpit. We'll hear him. Noble Antony, go up. For Brutus' sake, I am obliged to you. I am very thankful to Brutus because he has given me permission to speak. Goes into the pulpit. Pulpit is the platform, the raised platform where the speaker will talk, will give his speech. Fourth citizen, what does he say of Brutus? Third citizen, he says for Brutus' sake he finds himself beholding to us all. He is very thankful to Brutus for giving him permission to speak. Beholding means thankful, obliged. Fourth citizen, it were best he speak no harm of Brutus here. He should not speak any bad things about Brutus. First citizen, this Caesar was a tyrant. Tyrant is a person who oppresses the people, who makes the people suffer. So now the citizens believe that Caesar had to be killed because he is a tyrant. Third citizen, nay, that's certain. We are blessed that Rome is rid of him. We are happy that Rome is rid of Caesar, that Caesar is no longer alive. It is good for Rome. Second citizen, peace. Peace, silence. Let us hear what Antony can say. Antony, you gentle Romans, peace, hope. Let us hear him. That is, they want silence to hear the speech of Mark Antony. Now, this is a very famous speech in literature. Friends, Romans, countrymen, lend me your ears. Listen to me. I come to bury Caesar, not to praise him. I have come here to bury Caesar. I don't wish to praise him. Then he makes a statement. The evil that men do lives after them. The good is oft interred with their bones. The evil things which people do are remembered even after the death of that person. The good is forgotten. The body is in the grave. The body, and it is the good that the person has done is forgotten. The good is oft interred, means buried with their bones. So let it be with Caesar. This has happened to Caesar. The noble Brutus had told you Caesar was ambitious. If it were so, it was a grievous fault. Brutus found fault with Caesar, saying that he was very ambitious. If Caesar was really ambitious, if it were so, it was a grievous fault. It is a very unforgivable wrong. It is a very great fault on the part of Caesar if he was ambitious. If it were so, it means if he was ambitious. If it were so, it was a grievous fault. And grievously had Caesar answered it. It was a very big fault, and the punishment meted out to Caesar was also very big. He was murdered for his ambition. So he is punished. And grievously had Caesar answered it. Here, under leave of Brutus and the rest is all the other conspirators who joined in the murder of Caesar. Under leave means with the permission of Brutus. Here, under leave of Brutus and the rest. So Brutus is an honorable man. So are they all honorable men. Now when he says honorable, he wants the people to realize that they were not honorable when they killed Caesar. So Shakespeare makes use of irony here. The opposite effect is intended, the opposite meaning is intended in the word honorable. Anthony wants to show the people that Brutus was really not honorable when he killed the Caesar, when he took part in the murder of Caesar. For Brutus is an honorable man. So are they all honorable men. Come I to speak in Caesar's funeral? I am speaking here in the funeral of Caesar. He was my friend, faithful and just to me. He was very loyal to me. Caesar loved me. But Brutus says he is ambitious. Brutus says he is very ambitious. And Brutus is an honorable man. He means Caesar. He had brought many captives home to Rome, whose ransoms did the general coffers fill. General coffers is the public treasury of Rome. Now in those days, when an emperor or a ruler or a king conquers another country, he takes prisoners back. He takes the people of that place as prisoners to his own country, and they have to pay a ransom. If these prisoners had to be freed, the country has to pay a ransom, a certain amount of money, so that the prisoners will be set free. He had brought many captives home to Rome. After each victory which Caesar won in defeating another country, he brought many prisoners back to Rome. He had brought many captives home to Rome, whose ransoms did the general coffers fill. General coffers is the treasury of Rome. Ransom is the money paid to set free the prisoners who are taken at the time of war. To free these prisoners and send them back to their own country, a ransom has to be paid. A certain amount of money has to be paid. And Caesar did not take all this money for himself. He put it all for the welfare of Rome in the public treasury. Did this in Caesar seem ambitious? If Caesar was ambitious, he would have taken all the money for himself. When that the poor have cried, Caesar had wept. He was sympathetic. He felt sad at the sufferings and sorrows of the poor people. When that the poor have cried, Caesar had wept. Ambition should be made of sterner stuff. Ambitious people are stronger. They will not be so weak-minded. They will be hard-hearted. Yet Brutus says he was ambitious. And Brutus is an honorable man. So again, sarcastically spoken, ironically spoken, Antony wants to show that the conspirators were not honorable when they murdered Caesar. You all did see that on the Lupercal I thrice presented him a kingly crown, which he did thrice refuse. Which was this ambition? Now the Feast of the Lupercal was an ancient Roman festival that celebrated fertility. So during that festival, Mark Antony offered a crown to Caesar. It was offered 3 times, and 3 times Caesar refused the crown to be placed on his head. Now, in refusing the crown, did Caesar show that he was ambitious? You all did see that on the Lupercal I thrice presented him a kingly crown, which he did thrice refuse. Was this ambition? Yet Brutus says he was ambitious, and sure he is an honorable man. I speak not to disprove what Brutus spoke. I am not telling that what Brutus said is wrong, is incorrect. I don't want to disprove, to contradict what Brutus spoke. I speak not to disprove what Brutus spoke. But here I am to speak what I do know. I want to tell you what I know. You all did love him once, not without cause. You all loved Caesar very much. And there was a reason for showing love to him. You all is the Roman public. You all did love him once, not without cause, with a reason. There was a reason when, and that time you loved him. You all did love him once, not without cause. What cause withholds you then to mourn for him? What is the reason why you are not weeping when you see Caesar's dead body here? What cause withholds? What cause prevents you? What is the reason why you are not feeling sorry for Caesar? Why you are not sympathizing with the death of Caesar? What cause withholds you then to mourn for him? O judgment, thou art fled to brutish beasts, and men have lost their reason. People are not able to judge correctly because the ability to judge is now found in animals. People are not reasonable. They are not judging correctly. Bear with me. You must put up with me. I feel so sad at Caesar's death. At that time, Mark Antony is not able to talk because of his sorrow at the death of Caesar. So he is saying, have patience with me. Bear with me. My heart is in the coffin there with Caesar. I myself feel that I am with Caesar in that coffin. Coffin is the thing where that body is of a person is placed. My heart is in the coffin there with Caesar, and I must pause till it come back to me. I cannot speak for some time because of my sorrow. So I have to overcome this grief at the murder of Caesar, and then I will talk. Now notice the reaction of the citizens. They all began to support Antony because he is such a powerful speaker. Another thing, the common crowd, the public are not reasonable. First citizen, methinks there is much reason in his saying. His talk is very reasonable, very correct. Mark Antony's points which he gave in his speech are correct. Second citizen, if thou consider rightly of the matter, Caesar has had a great wrong. A very great wrong has been done to Caesar with his murder. By murdering him, a great wrong has been done to him. If thou consider rightly of the matter, if you judge correctly, Caesar had a great wrong. Second citizen, poor soul, that is Antony, his eyes are red with weeping. His eyes are red as fire with weeping. He is so sad. Tears are coming from his eyes when he remembers the cruel way in which Caesar was murdered. Poor soul, his eyes are red with weeping. Third citizen, there is not a nobler man in Rome than Antony. Antony is the noblest man in Rome. So now all the citizens are supporting Antony. Now Mark, listen. He begins again to talk. Antony, but yesterday the word of Caesar might have stood against the world. Yesterday Caesar was alive, and the whole world would have listened to what Caesar had to say. But yesterday the word of Caesar might have stood against the world. That is, yesterday when Caesar was alive, the whole world would have respected him, honored him, and listened to what he had to say. Now lies he there. Now Caesar is in the coffin, and none so poor to do him reverence. None of the people are respecting or honoring him or feeling sad at his death. O masters, he is referring to the citizens, if I were disposed to stir your hearts and minds to mutiny and rage, if I wanted you to rebel against the conspirators, if I wanted to turn you against the conspirators, that is Brutus and the others who killed Caesar, I should do Brutus wrong and Cassius wrong. So by saying that, he has already turned the Roman citizens against the conspirators, and now they support Antony. If I were disposed to stir your hearts and minds to mutiny and rage, if I wanted to turn your minds against the conspirators are the men who murdered Caesar, including Brutus, I should do Brutus wrong and Cassius wrong. I will be doing a great wrong to Brutus and Cassius, who you all know are honorable men. They are all honorable. I will not do them wrong. I will not in any way hurt them. I rather choose to wrong the dead. Let Caesar be wronged. Let the fault be in Caesar. That is, the dead. I rather choose to wrong the dead, to wrong myself and you. So let the wrong be on me and on you. Let the fault lie on you, on me, on Caesar, not on these honorable men who have killed Caesar, who you all know are honorable men. I will not do them wrong. I rather choose to wrong the dead, to wrong myself and you. Then I will wrong such honorable men. I do not in any way wish to find fault with these honorable men who have murdered Caesar. But here's a parchment with the seal of Caesar. Here's a document. And Caesar's seal is there. It is written by Caesar. I found it in his closet. I found it in his room. 'Tis his will. It is the will of Caesar. The will is what a person writes and how his wealth and property should be distributed after his death. So this is Caesar's will. Let but the commons hear this testament. Testament is will. If the common people, common is the Roman public, the common people, let but the commons hear this testament, which, pardon me, I do not mean to read. I am not going to read it now. That is again another trick of the orator. He tells them about the will, but he says he will not read it. So he wants to create in the people an interest and a desire to know the will, to know what is in the will. 'Tis his will. Let but the commons hear this testament. If the common people hear his will, which, pardon me, I do not wish to read, I am not going to read, they would go and kiss dead Caesar's wounds. They will pay respect to him by kissing all his wounds and dip their napkins in his sacred blood. They will dip their handkerchiefs in his blood, and they will keep it as a memory, as a token. They will keep it in remembrance of Caesar. Yea, beg a hair of him for memory. If they know what is in the will of Caesar, the common people will go and kiss Caesar's wounds. They will dip their handkerchiefs in his blood. They will beg a hair so that they can keep it in memory of Caesar. And dying, and when they die, mention it in their wills, bequeathing it as a rich legacy unto their issue. When they die, when these Roman citizens die, they will give these tokens, that is the handkerchief dipped in Caesar's blood or a hair of Caesar, they will give it to their children. And they will think that it is something very precious. Rich legacy means something very valuable, something very precious to remember Caesar. Unto their issue means to their children. Now, all the citizens want to read the will. We'll hear the will. Read it, Mark Antony. The will. We'll hear Caesar's will. Have patience, gentle friends. I must not read it. It is not meet you know how Caesar loved you. It is not correct. It is not suitable meet. It is not meet you know how Caesar loved you. If I read the will, you will realize how much Caesar loved you. You are not wood. You are not stones, but men. And being men, hearing the will of Caesar, it will inflame you. You will have your feelings. You are not hard-hearted, cruel people. Your heart is not like stones or wood. So if you read the will, you will feel sympathy for Caesar. It will make you mad. It will arouse your anger against the conspirators. You are not wood, you are not stones, but men. And being men, hearing the will of Caesar, it will inflame you, it will make you mad. It is good you know not that you are his heirs. You are the rightful owners of Caesar's property and of everything that he owns. You are the heirs of Caesar. He has left everything that he had to the Roman public, to the Roman people. For if you should, what would come of it? If I read the will, I don't know how you are going to react towards the conspirators. Fourth citizen, read the will. We'll hear it, Antony. You shall read us the will, Caesar's will. Will you be patient? Will you stay a while? Be patient with me, I will read the will. I have overshot myself to tell you of it. I have gone a little too far in telling you, in reminding you of the will. I have spoken too much. I fear I wrong the honorable men. In mentioning the will, I think I have done wrong to the honorable men whose daggers have stabbed Caesar. I do fear it. I'm afraid that I have done wrong to those honorable men who stabbed Caesar by telling you of the will. I have not read the will, but I just told you that there is a will and Caesar has given everything he has to all the people of Rome, to the Roman citizen. Fourth citizen, they were traitors, honorable men. The will, the testament. They were villains, murderers. The will, read the will. You will compel me then to read the will. Then make a ring about the corpse of Caesar. Stand around the body and you can see Caesar very well. I will read the will to you. And let me show you him that made the will. You see Caesar, you look upon Caesar who made this will in favor of the Roman public. Now in Antony's speech, Antony has succeeded in turning the Roman citizens against the conspirators. Even though he did not speak anything against the conspirators, because of his clever oratory, his skill in speaking, he has turned the Roman people against the conspirators. Now the other speech is not here, but it is a very, very interesting speech. And we will stop with the lesson here.